जिंदगी कभी कभी हमसे बहुत मांग लेती है, पर जीना तो पड़ता है ना।
So Satya, this interview has actually kind of been in the pipeline for a while now. I mean, we've been
Yes.
connected for so long, but I think I cannot be speaking to you for a more opportune moment than Aye Zindagi. I mean, I've been reading up on your performance and people are loving it. So huge congratulations, first of all.
Thank you so much, Anuj. And yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth lately about the conversation that we are supposed to have, and we are having it right now. And yeah, I think we've been connected since a while, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation and how it's going to unfold.
Right, right. Now, look, so you play a liver cirrhosis patient in the film who
Yeah.
tries to cherish every moment of his life. So tell me, how has playing this role actually helped you to understand life and its fragilities as well?
The only reason why I took up the challenge of playing this character and doing this film, because I knew it's going to be physically and emotionally the most difficult process for me. Because, and one more thing, I never spoke about these particular things because we never want to, for the lack of a better word, you don't want to romanticize your sob stories or the things that you've gone through. But it was very important for me to, tap on that. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of people when I was growing up, most of my family, um, from my father to my tauji to my bua to my mama, close family members, close to from 1998 to 2004. As a child, I saw nothing but people passing every year, and that you don't realize it, but that takes a toll on you, on your mental health. And I'm talking about late 90s and early 2000. There was no conversation about mental health at that point of time, right? And when you see your family just, I love you, you mean the world to me. You're my father, you're my you're my bade papa, you're my bua, you're my mama. It's a close-knit family, joint family. And tomorrow you're not there. And as a kid, you're like, where did you go? What happened to you? And it's been just, in my late 20s, I was able to untie those knots of not getting the closure. You never heal completely, let's be very honest. But you untie the knots and you see things as they are and what they are. Your emotions, your fragilities, being vulnerable, and you getting overwhelmed about certain things. It does take a toll on your mental health, of course. I'm not here to whitewash anything. So there was, we were talking about it, glass half full and half empty. Yes, there is a lot of pain in everybody's life. There's a lot of suffering, but I always took this path of looking at things from the positive perspective, from the perspective of, okay, if I'm falling right now, my counterintuitive thought is that how do I get up quickly, stronger? And even if I fall the next time, am I supposed to wear my knee guards, or am I supposed to fall and, have these kind of reflexes which I train myself about so that I don't get hurt so much? So there's this famous saying, it doesn't get easier, you only get stronger.
True.
And there is this a very important incident of my life. In 2004, my Tauji passed away. He was 43 or 44. And he was, when he passed away, for some reasons, I don't know where did this thought come to me, but I went up to my grandmother and told her, should we go ahead and donate his eyes? And she's like, yeah, why not? We used to live in my hometown, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. I got on my cycle, hopped on my cycle. I went to the central hospital of the city, came back, and those people came. And because of that organ donation initiative that we took, which was such a spontaneous thought, a 6-year-old girl and a 55-year-old woman could see because of my Tauji. So it was not the end of one life, but beginning of two.
Right.
And with organ donation, it's not the end of when you completely donate yourself to the, for organ donation. And it's not that your body completely goes there. There are medical technicalities to it. But once you're gone, you're gone. And if you can give, there's this famous line, there's this beautiful line from the film, and it is becoming famous. It's not the end of one life, but beginning of 7 lives. ये एक जिंदगी खत्म नहीं हुई, इससे 7 नई जिंदगियों की शुरुआत होगी. And such a beautiful thought, yaar. Just think about it, ki, and the way we celebrated humanity. And if I keep talking about it because if Brahmastra is the biggest film of the year, is celebrating love in a fantasy manner, fantastical way. We are celebrating love in the realist way, in the realist form, in the most human way. Sometimes you don't even say that I love you, but you are there for someone. And you do certain things which has a domino effect, and you might not know that this person did this. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
In life also. Not just about organ donation. So there's so many things, and for me, I remember I was sitting right here on this sofa. I started reading the script at 12:30 in the night. I finished it at 3. And I was like, a couple of times I had to shut the script because it was so overwhelming. But deep down inside, I knew, okay, you will become a big star, you will do things, you will be an acclaimed actor. But these kind of stories, they rarely come to you. And it was a story which was sent by the universe, I feel, because I've gone through that pain, those emotions. And my only thought was that I don't want to act it out. I have to be the character. I have to embody it. I have to understand the psyche and just be it, and not just pretend. Just be. So it was anxiety inducing. It was when anxiety triggers, either you feel like, there's this someone, I don't know how to articulate it, but and in that space, because every day you are you've lost so much weight and you're looking in a certain way, those bald patches and everything that you put, 4 hours of sometimes prosthetic makeup, and I lost some 10 kgs when I was shooting for the film.
Yeah, I remember. I read that.
Yeah. So I feel, but I'm really proud of it. Yeah. When I look back now, when I see the performance, when I see the film, I'm like, it resonated with people. It touched people, and that is the most beautiful part of it. And I know, unfortunately, the box office is not doing great, but I know once it's out on OTT, the film is going to get a new life, and people are going to recognize it and give their love to the film all the more. And I can't wait for the OTT release.
Right. Now, I mean, I'm so sorry to hear about, the fact that you've had to witness grief and death for, since as a child. I mean, it has a very huge impact on you as a person as well, when you grow up, and I can imagine that. And I think it's quite ironic how literally your character finds an unlikely friend in a grief counselor who is played by Revathi ma'am in the film. So do you kind of feel like, because of the film and the sort of style of the story it is, did this in a way feel like a healing therapy for you? Because of, obviously, you have witnessed death at such a young age and you've lost so many of your loved ones as a child. Do you think this movie was like a, Vajo kehte hain marham? Do you think it was like that for you?
On the other hand, it felt like I'm बोलते ना जख्म को खुरेदना.
Yeah.
Because even the thought of it just shakes me up from inside. It's overwhelming. But when for me, I'll come to the point right away. For me, if I'm doing, like, I've never done that yet, I'd love to, which is like over the top cinema, which is like highly masala driven and this and that. I've not done it yet. I'd love to, but most of the work that I've done, it's been really close to reality. And when people say ki, oh, real acting, natural acting, you have to create a character. It's not like you come and say things as they, just written on the paper. You have to create the character. You have to create the mannerisms, the psyche. Everything needs to come out. With this guy, I realized, just imagine you're 26 and you get to know that you're just starting your life, and you get to know that, oh, damn, I have this fatal disease and I'm just going to live for another 6 months. Go in denial. You are like, why me? Why is it happening to me? What did I do? uh, and if you see the film, you'll see the character has already gone through a few things in life. But like, I just started my life, I just started a new job, I just got hired in this new company in a certain position, and people really like me as a co-worker, as a colleague. um, uh, there's a bit of corporate culture also that we've shown in the film, how people are just so easily replaceable. But then the love and empathy and compassion also takes over at one point of time. Um, for me as an actor, I need to find the truth between action and cut. I want to live that character, that because unless and until Anuj, I'm not feeling it, I don't know any other way. How can I make you feel something? How can I convey that emotion sometimes without even saying anything, just looking into your eyes? How do I do that? And the people that I really admire, the people I look up to as actors, whether it's Irfan Khan Saab or Balraj Sahani or Dilip Kumar or all the greats from the West as well, there were certain scenes and shots where they are not doing anything. They just look into you and they grab you, they grab your soul. And I always, manifested that kind of a part or those kind of things. And can I bring that kind of element, that those nuances in my craft? And this part came to me, and I had to. It was really painful, man. It was not like, and somewhere I was channelizing my pain as well. But there's this. I read a lot, so there's this book called The Power of Subconscious Mind, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and the entire book is really interesting. I would suggest everyone to read it. But there's this very interesting line from the book: your emotions are nothing but energy in motion. Emotions are energy in motion. And so I used to channelize those because, within a day you do different kind of scenes. So we had like V1, V2, V3, V4, different stages of sickness. So all of a sudden you see this guy completely bright and beautiful, and then you see him in the other scene in a day's time where he's in the last stage. So to do it within one day, you have to find the truth every time constantly, and it takes a toll on you. It just shakes you up from inside. It took me a couple of months to heal from the film when I came out, because I surrendered to the story, to the character completely. Went for therapy. It was very important for me. And then I think dance took over, because dance is something which is really, I love. A lot of people keep telling me, why don't you put more dance videos? So I think that is something that I'll digressing from the topic, but you find different ways to bounce back. And that's what I did. So wo marham lagana nahi tha, zakham khuredna tha.
Oh no. Well, I mean, I'm just glad that at least you found that way of finding that joy and getting back into being you, and healing from that whole process. Because even though, you did say that you channelized and internalized a lot of pain and grief that you faced in life, and I think that's what a true artist really is. I think how you were talking about actors who really encapsulate reality. I mean, there's no one I think better that I can say that, like, other than Smita Patil. I mean, if you look at her films and her works, I mean, the natural approach that she has to all her characters, it doesn't even seem like she's acting. She literally becomes that character, and it's surreal. She was literally so gifted as an actor, and I feel like it's definitely magic when you watch certain actors perform like that. But I think, just speaking a bit more about yourself, because I mean, in the film we
Can I add something to it before we go ahead?
Yeah, go for it. Yes.
I also, right now, in retrospect, when I'm looking at things, I also feel there was a sense of responsibility, because on the third or the fourth day, it felt like मैंने पंगा ले लिया यार. Because when you constantly keep suffering every day and you have to go and be a professional actor and do it, sometimes people around you don't understand what you're going through. They're like, he's just being difficult. But anyway, there's no food in your system. You've lost so much weight, and the anxiety and the performance and the characters. So it can take a toll on you. But this, I think, this sense of responsibility that you're representing a certain set of people. You're representing those families who are going through that, who goes through that, and you're trying to make it as human and as believable as possible. So there's a sense of responsibility also you feel to make it all come alive. So I think there was this higher power which took over, which pushed me to, do things in a certain way. I don't know if it's your willpower or it's God or it's your ancestors or it's your guardian angel. I don't know what to call it, but there were a few things which were pushing me. Okay, आज का दिन हो गया, अब कल करेंगे. One day at a time, I kept pushing myself, and I'm proud of it, man.
You
When I
know,
look back,
and you should be. And so you should be, honestly. Like, it looks like an amazing film. I mean, I unfortunately haven't had the chance to see it because it's not released here in the UK, but I saw the trailer, and as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, this guy has done a good job. You could just tell. I mean, it just looks like an amazing film, and I can't wait to watch it whenever it comes on the streaming
yeah,
platform.
yeah,
But I think it's also quite fascinating because well, not fascinating, but quite eye-opening rather, because very few Indian films have focused on liver cirrhosis. I don't think there's that many movies that have had characters which really have suffered on it, or there's an onus on, speaking about what a person goes through as they're suffering and what families around them go through. And I think it's really great that we've got a film like this because I feel like awareness is so important, about patient suffering. And it's not just, for them, they don't look at it as a death sentence also, even though they have that phase where they look at it that way, but it's also about
yeah, yeah,
humanizing that aspect, right?
yeah. And Anuj, more than only just, yes, liver cirrhosis is an integral part, because it's also an incredibly real story. Aye Zindagi. Everything that you see in the film, it actually happened. And when you look at the film, and if you don't know that it's a true story, you will be like, this sounds like a Shakespearean play, that this happened and that happened and this came out of the blue. But that's how, they say life is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
That's
True.
what this incredible true story is all about. And also the film, yes, it's about liver cirrhosis, but the heart of the film is organ donation. The heart of the film is, you know, when you're going through your suffering, when you're going through your grief, in the middle of that, you're thinking about someone else, and you think about, if I do something, how the other person can, their lives can become better. And that thought, in the middle of your suffering, if you can think about someone else and the betterment of their lives and someone getting a new life, I think that is the biggest achievement of being human. That's humanity at its high point, at its Everest, you know. And that's what the film talks about. It's celebrating love. Like, there's this beautiful relation that I share with Sawan Tang, who's playing my brother in the film. A beautiful relationship with the nurse that, who looks after the character that I play. There is Revathi ma'am, of course, who's such an incredible actor. She has such divine presence. I was just surrounded by some really beautiful actors that made the job easier. It's been quite a, there are certain films that will stay with you forever, and this is one film that in my life so far.
Oh, good. Well, no, I'm glad to hear that. In fact, it's quite ironic as well because there's a film called Thank God that's just released, with Ajay Devgan and Siddharth Malhotra, and again, that really does talk about, life and humanity. And even though it's in this sort of more commercial space in comparison to Aye Zindagi, it's really nice that we're seeing narratives like this, because I feel like Hindi cinema actually, in fact, Satyajeet, I think this will be a very interesting topic to discuss because I feel like with Hindi cinema, if we look back to the Raj Kapoor days, or even maybe slightly later than that, the reason why those films worked or why those films really resonated with audiences is because they come from a very personal, sincere
Yeah,
space. That
yeah,
human touch. It had a human touch to the stories. And I think for a while, because Hindi cinema perhaps has been chasing for more, box office, hits and making bigger money, I feel like that human touch was being lost. And I feel like through films like this and Thank God, it almost seems like that whole revival is happening again, slightly. It almost seems like the human stories are back again. Do you
I
kind
think
of agree with that as
I,
well?
I completely agree with you on that, because yes, I know we need that larger than life kind of spectacle, which is there, which will always be there. Nobody is, even debating about that. But you need to represent your own people. You can't be always in a fantasy land and create this escape space. Okay, this is what it is. I'm not saying Aye Zindagi is something which is extremely real, but at the same time, it doesn't. When you see it, it will make you laugh. It will overwhelm you. It will make you cry. But by the end of the film, you'll be left with this very positive feeling. You'll be left with this overwhelming, how amazing life is, man. How one act of kindness can, has a ripple effect, and so many lives can become better because of that. And when you get out of the theater, that's what I experienced, that people were like, they say I'm speechless. They say I can't. They literally came and hugged me. I'm like, you guys have made a beautiful film, man. Like, yes, there are things, and everyone cinematically, when people look at, oh, I have this problem, that problem, this could have been better, that could have been better. But the core of it is that it touched people, and it's representing the common man without any facade, without any superficiality, without any thing which is larger than life. And at the same time, you're showing things as they are, and in an entertaining way. And entertainment can't always be nach gana. Entertainment is if I'm able to move you emotionally, if I'm able to suck you up and tell you that this is what has happened. And I think the Raj Kapoors, the Amir Khans, and even the best of the filmmakers, they always, even Steven Spielberg, a lot of great filmmakers, they make great cinema, but there's always this very underlying message, or underlying this whole deal, which is, if you get it, and sometimes they make it obvious, sometimes they don't, but there's always this, if you can change people's heart or initiate some sort of conversation through cinema, I think that's the most amazing way that's to go ahead about it. And yes, we are coming closer to the root, the grassroots, the root of how it should be, and I'm really glad about it.
Mm-hmm. And what I also really I'm loving this year, and what I've noticed actually as a trend of this year, is we're seeing a lot more vulnerable and broken characters emerge on screen. Whether they become a gray character in the end, or whether they become a darker shade, is a different topic. But the fact that we're seeing a lot more vulnerable characters, especially male vulnerable characters, I think is very interesting. Like Rajkumar Rao this year has done 2 films, Hit and Badhai Do, in which he presents masculinity in a vulnerable but yet
I
real
absolutely
light.
love him, man. I love him.
Yeah.
He's such a fine guy and fine actor, and he's quite amazing.
Yeah, and I think what I wanted to say, Satyajit, as well, at a time like this, because for a while, we were talking about conventions and how society fits people into boxes. For a while now, we've seen a lot of male characters that have been the mard ko dar nahi hota types, this sort of, indirectly endorsing toxic masculinity, very bravado. And now it almost seems like that has been left way behind, and we're seeing male characters emerge on screen which are vulnerable, which are broken, and they're being loved by the audiences as well. How important do you think this shift has been, and what do you think going forward now is important in the portrayal of Indian men in cinema?
Thank you for asking this. Thank you for articulating it all so beautifully. Thank you for looking at it from the lens of a lot of awareness, because these kind of questions and conversation only stems out of awareness and being empathetic, having that minute an eye for detail. I genuinely feel that we have to somewhere embrace the vulnerable side, the fragile side, and we all have it. And there are so many preconceived notions about a man should be this way, a man should be, he should be the provider, he should be the protector. Yes, I'm saying that he should be the provider and protector, but you can be vulnerable, you can cry. Mard ko dar nahi hota, I don't resonate with that idea. Dard hota hai tabhi wo mard hota hai.
Absolutely spot on.
And as I was telling you, if I don't feel something deeply, how can I feel empathy for it? Being an actor, how can I create it on screen? As a human also, you are that. we can't completely keep shutting off our emotions, and the way people are becoming more and more aware of it, and cinema somewhere is a reflection of the society. Whether you know show regressive cinema or you celebrate that, that is also a reflection of society. We cannot deny that.
True.
When you make these stars and make these films a super duper blockbuster where women are just objectified and women are just used as an object, which is, where are we? What are we doing now? We've come so far. Why are we doing this? How does it make any sense? Um, so I think the way men are being represented now, it's something phenomenal, and it should be encouraged, and more male actors, the young actors, should go ahead and embrace those kind of characters. Even the character that I'm taking on, I wish I could talk about it right now, but this look is for that. And he's a hardcore guy. He's someone who's working in the security force, who's looking after the security of the country, but he's extremely vulnerable, and that's what I love about him. And I love humanizing these characters. And this is such a, even for that matter, in Mumbai Diaries or Bestseller, you see the character, you see the facade, but you see also crumbling, you see the character crumbling down and showing his emotion for what it is, and not बोलते ना कि, it's the beauty of being, when men cry, they hold back.
Yeah.
And that holding back sometimes becomes more beautiful on screen. So in some way or the other, if we keep expressing that through our characters, through our stories, and I would also say we need a lot of women directors.
Yeah, definitely.
When you look at things from the lens of a female director, all of a sudden the same story becomes all the more different and all the more beautiful. And I think feminine touch is it's such a divine thing in our lives, in our cinema, in our system, in the country. Why not?
And I just think it's so even beyond gender, to be very honest. I feel like, as a filmmaker, I think, it has to come from, like you said, it has to come from a place of empathy, right? Like, I think if you're making a story where, it's about grief and you're dealing with a certain amount of sadness and a very macabre sort of topic, I feel like it also has to come from a very personal space.
Oh, yes.
Because I think, see, in our culture, we have Shiva and Shakti, two very, very important forces that are technically within all of us anyway, right? And I think, in terms of gender, I think gender does become quite secondary when you do want to have a story which is, very sincere. And I think that is very hard sort of pacing. But I think, look, I want to talk a bit more about you in terms of an actor and this industry, your struggles with it, because obviously, as you know, it's a jungle out there. I'm sure you probably know it more better than anyone.
Yes, you can't deny that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been over a decade since your acting debut in Always Kabhi Kabhi.
Yeah.
And I think when I look at your life right now to what it was, it almost seems like a very crazy, a crazy sort of part one, part two. Matlab ye jo post-interval ka sequence hai is very different to the pre-interval sequence. So, I mean, what has been your mantra to sustain and survive these years as an actor?
Anuj, I'll tell you something. I was very, very clear about, I've been very focused about things. And when I hear people talk about, okay, I'm going to come to this city and give it a couple of years, and if it works out, it's great. If it doesn't, I'm going to go back. I never resonated with that kind of idea and thought. For me, I always wanted to be an actor and an entertainer. The entertainer bit needs to come forward more right now. It's been more of an actor. But having said that, it's been, like you said, it's post-interval. I look at it from the perspective of Universe hired me, gave me this internship for good 8-9 years and trained me for the harsh realities and how it is. And now I think I'm just starting with Prasthanam, then Mumbai Diaries, then Bestseller, then Aye Zindagi. Now I have 3 releases lined up next year. And I'm shooting for something right now, which I'm going to start in a week's time. So right now, I genuinely feel there's this resurrection kind of thing happening.
Right.
I also feel that I've built my foundation really strong. Now it's up to me whether I want to build a Burj Khalifa or an Eiffel Tower or a Taj Mahal or a simple home or an eco-friendly home. I put everything in weird kind of analogies, but that's how I look at things. So I think the foundation is pretty strong now. I'm finding my voice. I'm finding my groove. Um, I'm a product of those struggles, that hardship, the process that I've gone through. And trust me, there've been always Kabhi Kabhi came out in 2011. We are having this conversation in late October 2022.
Hmm.
11 years. I'm 32 right now, but I've never felt so aligned and so connected with my own self as an artist, as someone who can I also feel as an actor it's very important to read and empathize and observe and hear, so that you can bring it all together and articulate things when you're having a conversation. That is something that I picked up from the greats like Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. That what an amazing speaker he is. So I kept on working on different skills, and I can't wait to show, present that to for the makers to exploit those skills. There's this guy who wants to do like hardcore comedy, within me. There's this action guy. There's this dancer. I've been a dance instructor. I got a scholarship at Terence Lewis. I couldn't continue with it.
Oh,
But there's so
wow.
many things. I compose, I write, I do poetry. So there's so much that needs to come out. And I think I'm just starting now.
Hmm.
There were times when I'll tell you, because we spoke about losing people early in my life. People, whenever we all have our connection with the higher energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be a god, it could be some almighty, your own willpower, some your guardian angel. For me, it's always been my father, my dadi, my grandmother brought me up. And sometimes when I'm having that difficult time, I really speak to him and her. I'm like, I'm doing my best, I'm giving my all. Why am I going through so much? And something beautiful comes out of it, man. It's literally like you're about to drown and something happens, someone pulls your hand and you're like out of it. And it has happened to me so many times, which I kindness comes from the most unexpected areas.
I relate. Oh my God, this is so relatable. This is
It, in terms of work, in terms of conversation, in terms of a new friend, in terms of sharing, speaking your heart out. Yeah. So, and also when Always Kabhi Kabhi had released in 2011, I was 20. And it was literally like a guy who's come from a small town like Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. You picked up this guy from ground and put him on the top of Burj Khalifa, which is a Red Chillies entertainment film, and you
Hmm.
have everyone, surrounded. I was just awestruck. I was looking at it from, oh wow, I'm sitting next to Mr. SRK and talking about the film, and there is this one walking in, that one walking in. You're in Mannat, and you're like talking, and Shah Rukh Khan is saying that, oh, he's a sincere boy, he's gonna go places and this and that. And the film comes out, and at the end of the day, it took me a while to understand, but it's nothing but business. There's nothing personal. If your business is great, everything is going to be nice, everyone is going to be kind, everyone is going to be accepting. If the business is not great, you're not a return on investment kind of a scene is not happening with you, you're
Hmm.
like just another guy. And it took me a while to understand that, but I was also a kid. I was still 20 is I've never had that. I've never lived my childhood where I was like, oh, I was enjoying my teenage, then I entered the college life, and then I thought, I've been working ever since I remember, ever since I came to Mumbai, because I had to survive as well.
Yeah.
Um, but my attitude has always been that be so good that they can't ignore you.
Right.
And I was almost written off. I was being offered the characters ki I'm not going to name anyone, but इस A lister का छोटा भाई बन जाओ, इसका best friend बन जाओ,
Oh my
ये
God.
कर, and never took those things on because I knew I'm not cut out for that. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm supposed to pick up. Um, and I'm very clear about what not to do. And it's not coming from place of ego, it's coming from place of love, because I know there's so much to offer.
Yeah.
So there were times when you're hand to mouth, there are times when you're like down and out, and even though nothing is working out, but I just want to tell everyone, it doesn't matter whether you're an actor or an artist or trying to start a new business, just hang in there. And when you have time, work on yourself, enrich your mind, enrich your body. I think do something for your mind, something for your soul, and something for your body every day, and it will pay off. I think 20s are the time when you lay your foundation.
Yeah.
And even if you're not able to, do it 100%, even if you do, say 70%, 80%, but lay a strong foundation where you can build your life on. And I think, I'm in a space where I'm just taking off now. So I'm really excited about the new inning.
Yeah, I mean, as you should be as well. And I think, because of impact of, I mean, this is such a huge impact because of OTT. And I feel like thanks to the digital platform, it's really, given us a plethora of actors who perhaps have always been great, who have always been fabulous, but because of the conventional hero or commercial heroine sort of mold that the industry has followed for a while, they never really got that exposure. But thanks to OTT, it's really changed the game. But I think when we talk about struggles, I mean, today the industry is constantly changing. There's a paradigm shift happening now, as you can see. But do you kind of find it hard to stay relevant and change with the evolving times as well at the same time? Because, especially with the influx of social media, you're constantly exposed to other people's works and other people's successes when you may not be, not from a place of jealousy, but just perhaps, just that sense of, oh my God, just it makes you really think. So do you kind of find it hard to keep up with the evolving industry as well sometimes?
I think I'll tell you one thing, it's such a boon right now to be in this industry, because the kind of work that is happening, it's really phenomenal. The good part is that, an actor, and right now, currently, an actor needs to be like a warrior, like an athlete, like you are always on battlefield. You're inside your tent, you need to keep your sword completely, with the edges sharp. You need to be physically agile, you need to be alert, because anytime someone can come and start the, the whole battle thing. So you always need to be ready. Somewhere that brings certain kind of pressure as well. But I think over the period, you learn to manage things. Also, on the other hand, as an actor, I feel my job is to act, right? To show up on set and do my best possible thing, and make my director and producer happy, and eventually become the darling of audience. That's what we aim for.
Yeah.
But this whole pressure of always upping your game in social media and being visible in a certain way and creating a brand, I'm not negating that, but for me it gets a bit overwhelming, because okay, as an actor, I'm not doing things which are, Anuj, I don't give a damn about whether it's working or not. I'll be very honest. At Sachin bhi har match mein century nahi marta hai.
No, exactly.
Virat Kohli ka bhi phase aata hai jahan wo nahi chal raha hai. And I'm not comparing myself with the greats, but all I'm saying is that not every film, not every character is going to become that, oh, Sholay.
Yeah, exactly true.
It's not going to be a DDLJ every film or every. But as an artist, I need to keep working. I need to keep creating art. I need to keep creating characters. And that takes a lot of my energy. And then you're told by the people around you that you have to up your social media game, your Instagram, this and that. And you cannot deny that there is so much work going to the people who are not even half as talented as you are, just because of the social media number.
Exactly.
They've not done one film, they've not done one show, and they're already stars. So maybe they're doing something right, or maybe the system has changed and has become more superficial. So for an actor, it becomes all the more I wouldn't call it a burden, but more of this
responsibility,
extra weight. Okay, like with this look, a couple of things, a couple of collaboration came my way, And they were like, you know, Satya, we looked at you always as a very soft-looking boy next door, this, you know, cute boy next door kind of a thing. And right now you look, can you shave it off? I was like, no, I can't. I'm committed to my character. I'm committed to the show that I'm doing, the new web show that I'm working on. And like, yeah, so we have to go to someone else. And it was a big paycheck, big paycheck which was coming out of that. The collab and the, you know, the endorsement. I had to say no to it because of this. So somewhere you have to sacrifice certain things because, but yeah, I understand that the whole numbers and algorithm, it's taking over the entire thing. But I hope we find some humanity in the middle of all this.
Yeah, definitely. Satya, I think it's been such a pleasure to have you on Filme Shilmy, honestly. I think Aye Zindagi is a very special film. I saw the trailer and I immediately was very taken aback and very pleasantly surprised, actually. I think you're a very good discovery. And I think it's great that Platoon One Films have always utilized actors in a very powerful light. I mean, before they had Dilotama Shom in Sir, and now they've got you in Aye Zindagi. So I'm very happy to see that talent and art is still uh, continues to get discovered and is continued to get exposed despite the constant shift in the industry. And I think it's wonderful to have actors like you sort of do well. And I'm manifesting more great stuff for you as well.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. And this conversation is something that I really enjoyed. We spoke our heart out. And yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to more such conversations. It doesn't matter whether there's a release or not, but I'm always game for it. And I love conversations. And you're a great conversationist and you ask some really interesting questions. So
Oh, thank you.
for that, yeah.
Well, it takes a great interviewee as well. So thank you so much for being there, Satya. It's been wonderful and wishing you all the very best for Aye
Thank,
Zindagi and all upcoming projects as well.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.